All right, let's jump right in. Think about the tools you use every day. Your email, your calendar, your documents. Pretty standard stuff, right? But what if that simple software choice could say something huge, something profound about a nation's ambition?
I mean, it sounds kind of trivial, doesn't it? Who really cares what office suite a politician uses? But that's exactly what happened. A single decision to switch software became a major news story. And why it happened? Well, that's where things get really interesting. It pulls together technology, politics, and even national identity.
So here's what kicked this whole thing off. India's IT minister, Ashwini Vaishnav, made a very public move. He didn't just quietly switch his apps. He announced that his entire official workflow was moving to a homegrown platform called Zoho. And you gotta understand, this wasn't him just saying, hey, I like this new software. No, this was a statement. But to really get why, we first need to talk about the company at the heart of it all.
All right, so who is Zoho? What's their deal? They've actually been around for decades, quietly building this massive suite of business software. But it's how they're built, their core principles, that makes them so different from pretty much everyone else. You see, Zoho is built on this idea of radical self-reliance. It's fascinating. Everything, all of their products, developed in India. Their global HQ is in Chennai. They pay taxes in India on their global income. And this is a big one. Indian customer data, it stays in India. Period. And get this is the kicker. They run their own data centers. They're not renting server space from the big guys like Amazon or Microsoft.
And that right there, that's a huge strategic difference. So you've got most of the tech world on one side, right? Building their stuff on massive public clouds like AWS or Azure. Then you've got Zoho over here, controlling its entire technology stack, from the actual physical hardware all the way up to the software. That gives them a level of independence that's just incredibly rare these days. And this whole approach, it isn't just a business decision. It comes from a really specific philosophy.
Yeah, to really get Zoho, you have to get its founder, Sridhar Vembu. His mindset, it runs completely opposite to pretty much everything we associate with modern tech culture.
And this quote from him, it really just says it all. In an industry that's all about hype and moving at lightning speed, Vembu's whole vibe is patience. It's about quiet, long-term investment. They're going deep on R&D, especially with AI, but they absolutely refuse to overhype it.
I mean, it is the complete opposite of that classic Silicon Valley mantra, right? Move fast and break things. Zoho's approach is more like build slowly and make it actually work. And you really see this deliberate, kind of cautious style in the whole AI frenzy that's happening right now. While everyone else is rushing to announce the next big thing, Zoho is just taking its time. And you know what? Turns out there's some serious data that suggests they might be onto something.
Just look at this number, 95%. What on earth could that be referring to?
So what is that? Well, according to a study from MIT, a whopping 95% of corporate AI pilot programs fail. They just don't generate any return on investment. So Vembu's caution, it's not just a personality quirk, it's a strategy. It's grounded in the reality that maybe, just maybe, the AI hype is running way ahead of its actual business value. And it's this kind of long-term, self-reliant thinking that makes Zoho the perfect symbol for a much bigger national ambition. Okay, so now let's pull back and look at the bigger picture. Because this isn't just about one minister or one company. Not at all. It's all connected to this huge political and cultural shift happening in India right now. Right, so this is the key takeaway. When Minister Vaishnav made that switch, it was basically a piece of political theater, a very intentional, very public performance. It was designed to send one clear message. India is serious about building and backing its own tech champions. And this is all part of a huge government initiative called Atmanirbhar Bharat. It's a major policy of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and it literally translates to self-reliant India. The goal is to boost everything made in India and make the country a much more critical part of the global economy, not just a place that buys stuff from other countries. And this isn't a new idea, not really. It has these deep historical roots in a concept called Swadeshi, which actually dates back to India's independence movement. Back then, it was all about boycotting foreign goods. Today, that same idea is getting a 21st century reboot. It's less about boycotting and more about actively building, nurturing homegrown technology from the ground up. And when you take all these threads, the company, the philosophy, the politics, they all weave together to form one really powerful idea. And that idea is digital sovereignty. That's the goal here. The belief that a nation should control its own digital future, its data, its infrastructure, its technology. And believe me, this isn't just some abstract concept anymore. It's becoming a geopolitical must-have. And this is where the story explodes beyond just India, because they are not alone in this. What we're seeing is a massive global shift in how countries think about technology. So why the sudden push? Why does digital sovereignty matter so much? Well, it basically boils down to three key things. First, data security. You want to keep your country's sensitive data inside your own borders, protected by your own laws. You don't want it subject to foreign laws like the U.S. Cloud Act, which lets the U.S. government demand data from American tech companies no matter where in the world it's stored. Second, simple economics. Why send billions overseas for software when you could keep that money in your own economy, creating local jobs? And third, strategic autonomy. This is about not being dependent on foreign tech giants. Because let's be honest, their corporate priorities might not always line up with your country's best interests. And look, this is not just an India story. It's happening everywhere. From Europe with its strict data laws to similar debates happening all over the world. This idea of technological nationalism is really taking hold. Nations are waking up to just how strategic their digital infrastructure really is.
Which brings us right back to where we started. But now it all looks a little different, doesn't it? The everyday tools we use are not just neutral anymore. They're tied into this massive global web of economics and power. So the next time you open your email, it's worth asking yourself, is this just a tool or is it something more?